Hi everybody, it's Darshini in spirit, and we're here today to do a few updates for the predictions of 2015 and into a bit of 2016. So I thought you might like to be interested in this, and I'm going to go start with America, Canada. So this is really to do with actually just the weather a bit. I believe I forgot a few things on the 2015 videos. So I'm going to go into a bit. Just to let you know, there is a huge front coming in that's causing a lot of tornadoes. But I decided to just include, I've got a huge load of people here in Southern California. And just to let you know that, well, we actually had rain, which is quite a bit this morning. But we are, as you know, April was certainly a no rain month. There was hardly anything regarding, as compared to previous years. So just to let you know, May is going to have a bit touches of rain, but it's really going to be far more, and I'm just going to hit into California a bit more. It's really going to hit more up here, San Francisco, not quite to the Napa, but really there, San Jose, into those areas over there, and not so much in Orange County or San Diego counties, just to let you know that. But surprisingly, we are going to encounter more rain in June than we were or have done in April and in May to come. So it sounds a bit weird, but that's what I'm seeing. Let's see if it's true. And also, I do see that there is a rainstorm, quite a significant one, that's going to affect the whole states. And it's coming in from the, let's see, the Aleutian Islands, really. And that's where it starts, at least round about there over there. So it comes really from here and then heads down towards the US. Doesn't really clip Canada, so it's coming in really directly to hit here. Now that one is what I do see is going to move across the states. So we're going to see a system that's a rain system that's quite a big one, and it's coming in from here. It's not exactly classified as a hurricane. I did talk about in the 2015 predictions, and you're welcome to see that. It's on my channel on YouTube, but I did see a few hurricanes, low level. One is going to have an impact on California, Southern California. Last year I said the same thing, and it did, well, regarding hurricanes, and it did, we had nearly four hurricanes on the West Coast. So this one is actually going to come in, no hurricane, but it is coming in a system that's going to actually hit mostly kind of the tip of Oregon that I'm seeing, and then moving down. But where it really makes more significant rainfall is in Southern California and LA side, Santa Barbara, and it comes in and hits. It kind of spreads then. It doesn't just kind of peter out, but it does gain force for some reason over the mountains and then goes across the states. And that system is actually going to, let's just go back into the states here. Oh, come here. So that one is actually going to affect the lower end of Colorado. And I'll just go in here so we can see it. So it's going to actually see coming in through Colorado and coming in through here, and then moving across. It's really going to affect tip of New Mexico, but the real big storm is coming in from South Dakota up there through the tip of Texas here, Arkansas, and there. That region is going to get affected with tornadoes, and that one is coming in, even though we've had 50 tornadoes about 2 days ago and more yesterday, the really big ones are coming in August, so be careful of that. I am seeing an F5 and 2 F4s, which are really tipping an F5. It's really destructive. So you have to be careful. And again, it's in August that's really going to be a big one. And there's another one, bad system of tornadoes, as we're just flipping into tornadoes, in November. So I am seeing the F5 roundabout here that's hitting in this section. So it will be causing quite a few. And it's, as I said before in previous videos, they're coming in clusters. And it's not just 1 or 2, they're literally coming into 3 to 5. So we are going to see far more frequency, and it's not going to be like every 2 weeks or something. But when the summer starts up around about July, you're going to see far more activity in the tornadoes, I'm afraid, here across the states. Needless to say, again, in the 2015 predictions, I am seeing higher heat indexes, dry weather. It's really affecting the mid-states. We'll go into flooding in a minute, but unfortunately, the high heat indexes are going to get broken again. And in all the years that I've said so, it has happened, I'm afraid. So we are going to see some drought areas all around here into this area here. So these are the major drought areas. But unfortunately, on the counter there, we're also going to see quite a few flooding. And I said heavy flooding, as I said before, in Texas, Oklahoma, tips of South Dakota, but really in Kansas, Colorado, I'm seeing a bit there. So it's pretty bad. East Coast is going to have a different system that's coming in, and it's coming in from really, let me just go back here. And here is that the East Coast is going to get flooding, New York, bits of Washington, but it's really more New York, I'm afraid, that I'm seeing it, and Tennessee that are isolated, and Mississippi, tips of Alabama. There's a huge system coming later this year, and that's going to afford about 2 or 3 feet. It seems there's rivers that are overflowing and really causing havoc there. So sorry to say that. And remember, there is a storm that I'm seeing. Let's see now. Just trying to. Oh, by the way, just quickly, around about June 28th, there it seems to be a start of a season of even more, as I said, tornado activity. But in July, you'll be seeing activity building, as I said before, in clusters of 3 to 4 minimum, and could be at least 8 in a storm. No, I'm not saying is, but it's average. August will be a surge of tornado activity in Canada. We'll just flip to Canada a minute. And in Canada, I'm afraid what I'm seeing is the tornado activity is intensifying. And again, through August is going to be quite a month of tornadoes, not only in America, but in Canada. And I'm seeing it round about here in Toronto, Toronto area, as well as all here. And there's another set of tornadoes in here that I see. And it's all to do with this weird activity of the weather, obviously. But it's more, how can I say? It's as if something is feeding it from up north, winds or ice or something like that, and then converging and creating a very low level tornado system. So just be careful that you will. I'm afraid Canada is going to see far more tornadoes than they naturally would. Okay, a lot of tornadoes in this section I see, but they're F1s, F2s. Okay, so we've got to that, and there is one that I'd like to. So I've made some notes. So I'm going to talk about, just for the quickly. There will be, that I see, 3 mega disasters next year, and actually it's 2 this year and 3 next year, and it's really with FEMA's help that I see that the governor has to subsidize it with to recover his community. And the tornado activity, which I'll obviously discuss in a much longer and detailed version for next year's predictions, for 2016, and I'll do that later on this year, will be far more denser in activity and far more erratic clusters of activity. And that is to go really with the whole of the States and Canada, so watch it. And as I said, an F5 I am definitely seeing, and EF4s as well. And EF3s are going to increase in response to that, to be honest. Also, what I am seeing is that on the 2015 hurricanes activity, you may like to listen to the 2015 predictions video, but I have a prediction for the West Coast hurricanes. I've kind of covered it already, mostly, but there is one, unfortunately, that I do see, and I'm trying to find my notes here, so I apologize. But anyway, it's coming in, but it's coming in from down below here through Cuba, but it really clips it, and it goes into a low level, not exactly a tropical storm, and it hits South Carolina, clips the coast into North Carolina. So watch that one. It's going to be later on this year, late July, could be August, okay? So I'm going to move away a bit from weather for a minute, and I'd like to quickly put in here about ISIS. So ISIS I would like to bring in, and as in the my lectures that I often give nearly every month, and my books, I have warned people about the significant signs of changes which we are all experiencing throughout the world, especially more significantly in the last few years. There are well over itemized 100 identifying signs, which I've outlined in the book in detail and explained it, of course. One of these signs is that people will be experiencing a far more heightened sense of intuition, and in some people, far more precognitive abilities will be growing. In other words, if you've noticed that you seem to be picking up like a radar on things or events, please start writing them. That's what the book is about. The Bada Bing Bang Boom book is to try and coach you through the book with a ton of exercises, how to increase your intuition and all the other skills that you may have. And why I mention this is to make you aware. Remember, this is all part of survival, and it's to make you aware that you should be listening and taking note of any intuitional communication you may be receiving. So you may be aware of regarding not going somewhere, maybe, or just being aware that, just to be aware of where you are, who is around you, what is going on in and around your space. This is crucial, and it'll take away the fear that may be building, especially later on, which I'm going to talk about now, in a minute rather. When you do this, it will help you in potentially bad situations. And in the book, I will have a detailed exercise for you to increase your awareness, by the way. And it's part of the exercises I teach in one of the many classes I do. So you will see that there is, it'll be discoveries, exposures, and how can I say? Let's start again. Sorry about this. That's the trouble when you freewheel. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that there are going to be, by the authorities, other than America and all over the world, I'm talking about the government, that they will be discovering and exposing, hopefully in time, incidences of what I call lone wolf, not organizations, but individuals, and trying to associate themselves with ISIS or using that cover. And it's mainly groups of 1 to 5 people, grouped terrorist extremists, who plan to obviously cause destruction and terrorism throughout the country that they're operating in, they live in. And I do see that these things will happen more so in the following countries that you're going to find an elevated risk, and that is in Canada, America, Australia, France, England, on a lesser level, Spain, Germany, and Belgium to a lesser extent, okay? There are far more horribly harsh attacks, and this is like suicide bombing, which mostly they are anyway, Afghanistan, from Afghanistan and any of the Arabic countries, Iran, etc. So just to let, what they're doing is to try and let their power be known, and they're going to up the ante, which I'll talk to you in a minute about why I see that they're upping the ante, ISIS that is, in their campaign to brainwash mostly what I would call children, to be honest, all over the world. Anyway, there seems to be a slight change of leadership that I see in the upper ranks of the regime. There are 2 to 3 groups of moderates, mostly with older members, who are really anything above, round about 50 and above. But there is another group that is the kind of dangerous one, and that's the 30 to 45-year-olds, mostly who are determined to, be more violent in their attacks and aggressive in their attacks around the world. So it's really coming as if it's a desperation and their misguided power, to be honest. You may see a slight split in their ranks, and each group pursuing their own perception of the Islam law. This will start to be observed by the end of July and progress in intensity through November. Not too much of this activity will be publicly known. It is only the monitoring groups who will know this is true, and I'm talking about Scotland Yard, Interpol, FBI, and obviously any other of the other monitoring groups. The extreme group, and this is again that kind of core group, which is not to say anybody younger than 30, but more 30 and 45-year-olds, will show their mark more in August, and approximately the second week of August. And I'm seeing it's kind of a campaign they're trying to coordinate, so watch it. And you may see these coordinated attacks in 3 of the countries I mentioned, which they will be, what they're trying to do is to coordinate it to get airplay. Remember, they are in the business of fear-mongering, and that is what we are, people buy into when you're not used to terrorism. So just trust your intuition, as I said before. And as for the states of Canada, England, on Australia, as well as the States, obviously, and some of the European countries, this is going to be so. You will see isolated attacks. I do see, because of an increased intensity of activity, more so beginning in mid-June, again through November. That's a core time that I'm seeing at the moment. There are susceptible areas which I do see may be potential targets, and these that I'm seeing that these individuals will operate in Washington, D.C., LA, Los Angeles that is, and Texas, which is kind of weird, but I do see some kind of attack in a convention or some large convention event. Okay, so be careful. Round about July, end of July. So be careful of that. And in Canada, I'm seeing Toronto, Montreal as targets. In Australia, I'm seeing far more, and let me just scan over to Australia. Oops. Quickly. I've lost Australia. Okay, so in Australia, I'm seeing far more in, let's see, where are we? Sorry, I'm just trying to get in where I can find it. Anyway, I'm seeing 2 areas that they're going to really get very aggressive with, and one is in Sydney, and and just be careful of that. And Adelaide, is it? I'm trying to find it. Anyway, just be careful for Lord's sake, because they're just being obviously vindictive, so just be careful, all right? And unfortunately, I had a comment on my YouTube regarding 2015 regarding fires. Apparently, unfortunately, it happened exactly where I told him. So you're going to be kind of with a lot of, other than drought, there's major flooding as well. And check out the 2015 predictions for that one, the original uploaded one in October last year. So back to what we were talking about, and that is I'm seeing that we are looking at more even terrorist action. It'll be in London, which I'm sorry, but I see that London is going to be a huge target. France again is going to be hit, Spain, and let me just get into here. Oops. And we are wrong. I'm getting dizzy, I'm sure you are too. This is okay. Let's get there. Let's get. Sorry about this. All right, where are we? There's Africa. Okay. All right, so we are getting hit more in London. There's going to be an attack, maybe as much as 3, I'm afraid, so be careful. And that's a prominent attack that I see, and it's a bad attack, could be in July. So please be aware of your surroundings. If your intuition says don't go, or just be aware of what is you're feeling. And this is all I'm here for, is to try and get you awakened to your own intuition, okay? So that's something. There may also be one event one attack in Edinburgh, just outside, I see, not in the center of Edinburgh, but interestingly enough, it is foiled very, very near the time that it's meant to be activated, so they do get caught. And then there is one, again, one that is like that situation where they get caught in Belgium, which I'm surprised that they're even attacking Belgium, but anyway, they don't care. They're just trying to make an overall statement, which is just about terror. Okay, so that's basically on that subject. I'm going to go quickly to, hopefully that was of interest to you. I'm going to earthquakes, and this is 30-day 2.5 plus USGS, and it doesn't show, just to let you know, it doesn't show, I don't know why, but it doesn't show anything in Australia and in Europe, so that is not representative of any of the earthquakes in Australia, in those areas, and Africa, by the way, not as much. Africa is, as I said, going to have more earthquakes, which it is, which is far more like this into that corner. We are going to see a significant earthquake near Greece, off the island of Greece, but it's pretty deep, but it is going to be pretty significant. I think it'll be about a 6.8, so 6 later on this year. I hope I'm wrong. What I'm going to do is not Asia, but here, China is going to be really far more, and as you can see, these are quite significant. They're going into 6.8, 7.4. Fiji is what I told them. Fiji, Papua New Guinea is experiencing far more earthquakes, and it's really far more intensely being felt. New Zealand, that's 6.1. So everything I said, I'm afraid, is coming true. 6.5, that one, and along the strait as well, so Solomon Island Strait. These ones will just continue, I'm afraid, and I do see, though, there is a kind of a 7.1 coming in, but round about here, not Papua New Guinea, which is where they had that big one, but it's really about this area. It's on this line. So there is a 7.1 coming in later, producing a tsunami not backward but really outward, but it doesn't really affect it too much in Hawaii. There will be a tsunami warning, but I think they're going to miss the bullet there. I did say that there are going to be far more, let me just put that in. Yeah. Sorry, hold on a minute. Hula hoops, that's annoying. Okay, here's it. This is what I was trying to get. Oh, come on. I haven't got time for this. I apologize. Okay, I'll be back. This is USGS, but it's also the US. And just to let you know, I am seeing, and I've always said that I see the earthquakes in a drop H, which is, this is an H. Sorry, I'll get the other pointer. This isn't the two arms of it, but here obviously it's getting more intense, and then down here. So that's a drop H across. And you're seeing that we are going to be seeing far more earthquakes down here, round about here, even in South Carolina. So this one is in actually Mississippi. This one's going to just continue rolling into some, you know, earthquakes. So but don't be surprised if you see a 5.1 there, by the way, later on this year, in just up north. And I did say in the 24 on October 2014 in the predictions for 2015 that I do see the earthquakes going up, graduating up. So don't be surprised if you see a 5.1 roundabout there. Okay, back into America here, and that is, don't be surprised if you are going to see Canada. I'm sorry, I have Canada here. As I said, there are far more earthquakes going to happen in that region, and that is a 6.4. But don't be surprised if you're going to see far more earthquakes, but they're kind of coming in, sneaking in. This one's a 4, but don't be surprised if you see far more in this section here of earthquakes. But here it'll be far, you know, consistent but larger and coming out more, and definitely on a fault line there, obviously. These will continue, but not as badly. Minor earthquakes, and here around about Toronto and this area, they will start going into threes, upper threes to low 4s that you'll be experiencing all this year. Next year, same thing. We are going to be growing far more. I will do specifically that later on that, or maybe even include it in the book, but we'll see. Okay, I haven't finished that. And that one is, oh, there we go. Here is, as you can see, the earthquakes which are for Europe. Okay, now this is going to start increasing a bit more with earthquakes. They're kind of low level at the moment, but as I'm sure I said, that Spain's going to increase in activity for earthquakes. And as you can see, this is just for 2 weeks, I believe. It's showing quite a few there. Italy and all of this here. So don't be surprised if you are seeing far more in around, a few more, not large. It'll be up to 4 in England, and some up to 2.5 in Ireland here. But it's really France, and then graduating more into this region here, which is getting very active. Okay, and can't zoom in there, but anyway. So don't be surprised about Greece, I'm afraid. But it's going to be 4s to 5s roundabout in here in this area. All right. That's it really. I'd like to stick to Seattle, not Seattle, but Oregon will be experiencing far more on this fault line, and this one, this edge, is not good. But we talked about Canada. Okay, hopefully that helps you. As for earthquakes in Asia, which I know you'd like to look at, let's go back to the world. In Asia, I had said that this fault here is going to get more active, and it has been seeing far more. That's just 5.3. So that ridge is getting far more active, and I feel that the plate here is putting some pressure on that going. I don't know if that's true, if it's moving that way or what. I know this plate here, North Pacific plate's going into the North American plate, and that's shifting upward. But I do see that this is just going to continue up here. You'll see some other minor ones on this line as well. But as for Australia, Fiji, and that, I did talk about that. And Japan, I hate to say it, it's just going to continue. There may be, there have been, that's sort of 5, 7. So there's a lot, the usual things. I think there may be a 6.5, 6.8, round about that region. But it's pretty low, but I'm afraid that is really a bad area, unfortunately. Let me just see if I can go. So, no, that's not showing it. And as you can see, that's just the 30-day 2.5 over. And I had said that this area up here is going to get far more active, far more higher, like 7s, in the 7s, 6.8 upwards will be here. That's North America, that's a 6.2. So that area here is going to get far more active and then start pushing down here. And for some reason, I'm feeling that it's kind of correlated there. And as you can see, South America is just rife with earthquakes, and it's still pretty unstable, I'm afraid, carrying right through into the edge of, into Mexico, but more here, Puerto Rico, things like that. Okay, I'll leave it there. I'm sure you're bored, sit stiff with that, so I'll let that go. Okay. Just quickly, I had mentioned I'll bring Google back, but quite frankly, I had mentioned in my predictions for there we go, 2015, that we will be seeing snow far more, I mean, until about the end of, I think May 30th, I said. Not into June. Like last year, I said June, and sure enough, it was snowing. So we are experiencing snow here in California, elevations from 5,000 above, 3 to even 1.5 foot. Well, actually only 3 to 6 inches. It's really in Colorado that they're having far more snow, of nearly 18 inches. So expect to see that weather systems still giving snow out and into the higher elevations until end of March, okay? And that's just a quick thing on snow. All right, this section is about hacking. So, no, I don't hack, but anyway, I just want to let you know, as I predicted last year, I said that the Social Security numbers will be leaked out, as well as personal information on Social Security numbers, I'm afraid, and it'll be done via, that it will be compromised via the insurance, medical insurance. And sure enough, unfortunately, we experienced Blue Cross Blue Shield and Blue Cross Anthem, I'm sorry. And I hate to say there's another one even bigger coming in, if that's possible at all, going to be compromising your Social Security numbers. I am not going to do a security video too, maybe later, I don't know. I'm not too sure if anybody's really interested in that, on how to, some basic ways to protect it yourself. But just to let you know, be careful and see what you could, how to protect yourself. I'll maybe quickly do one later. Anyway, regarding hacking, I do see that, and this is a big warning, that anybody who is accessing iCloud will be compromised again later this year. Probably what I'm seeing is late October, November. And it's a few million people all over the world who will be affected. This hack originating from the Northern European bloc, well known for hacking. I'm not going to give the country's name. Hope you know which country that is. Anyway, not that it matters, it's going to be compromised anyway. So it's going to compromise your financial and credit card information, and any other information you have on iCloud. And so it's not only obviously iCloud, but it's other facets of using the iPhone, I'm afraid. And you may think I'm crazy for saying this, but I think it's a good thing in a way, as Apple knew about this and that this could have happened, and there was a percentage possibility of it happening. But the way that they came in is through a very small back door. Anybody who knows computers understands what I'm talking about, but it's a backdoor way that was eventually rooted out by the hackers and compromised the iCloud application. On a good note, this exposure to the susceptibility of this application will help to protect not only iCloud more securely in the future, but it's also additionally going to help the iPhone by beefing up that security. So on a good note, I'll try and look at the good things here, but just be careful. I personally do not like iCloud myself. I don't want my information out there, put it that way, or being compromised. So just be careful if you're going to be loading sensitive material or things, personal information. It will be out there, and they can use that information obviously to even clone you and use it to compromise other security or create credit cards. So be careful of that. You should know that by now, I hope. So that's one of the hacking. And the hacking and stealing of credit cards around the world is only going to get worse, more so in America, Canada, and any of the countries that really have, I would say lacks security, but it's basically, we are well behind. As I've always said, we are certainly behind in technology on our phones. We are certainly behind Europe on certain other security measures. So please be aware of that one, that your credit cards are going to be really compromised. A big company is going to get compromised. Quite a few large companies are going to be compromised if they haven't already been and they've covered it. So just be careful, which is bad of me, but I'm going to tell you one way of doing it. Every 3 months I actually lose my card. Oops. And I call in and say I want a new card. And you know, they could always say, well, we want to give one, which is fine, I'll close the account. But what I'm saying is you have the right, if they can't secure your information, you have the right to have some control over your credit card. So every 3 months, it's a pain, yes, but you know, get a new card with a new number. At least you've got some type of protection. Other than the obvious, you look at your statement every month, please. Okay? And people are still asleep in believing that their money and personal information can be compromised and is being compromised. So there's far more of a rude awakening to certain civilizations around the world that this is a reality now, to be honest. So what I'm more worried about here is that it's not just your credit cards being compromised, but it's the latest attacks that are going to be stealing information on IDs, it's being bought, that I see, by terrorists to try and get into countries or try and buy things, and it's all under your card. And I'm seeing that it's a kind of an older generation from about 28 to more 50s that are stealing and hacking on their online banking and finances, stocks and shares. So be careful, especially if you have money. So expect to see that and more experiences of that later on. From July onwards, I'm afraid it's only going to get worse. Anybody, especially with a lot of money in that, if you haven't secured your IP address, I strongly suggest you put passwords that are, hopefully you can change anyway too, but try and secure your wireless and any other way that they can get into your computer. I always keep one computer for surfing and doing research, and another computer you can use just for financial, banking, stocks and shares, etc. Do not surf with that computer. That's one of the basics you should be aware of, okay? Especially if you're going banking online. Just looking at my notes. There, I do see that there is going to be a bit of a virus, kind of bordering on a pandemic, but not. But it's spreading from US, Canada, Hong Kong, Japan, mostly European countries, Arabic and African. A good 85% of the country within about 18 months of this time will be affected by this. So just be careful that when traveling, it's not it can get into it's not Ebola, it's going to be a far more, it's like a flu symptoms, but a really devastating one where it's leaving some victims semi-paralyzed. So be careful of that, please. Just try and work on your immune system, and try and get that beefed up if you are going abroad or going into places where you're going to have a lot of people and events. So I will say that the economy is bouncing up and down. Listen to your own instincts, concentrate and focus on your own life. Don't start getting obsessed with what's going on with the economy, okay? Especially in America, as we're going into the election year next year. So if you start just not obsessing about what's going on and just think of yourself, and that is, how can I say this, far better for your psyche and your own mental, is to not worry, but just to say, how secure am I? And these are all exercises in that Bada Bing Boom Bang book that I'm trying to get out, is to help you shift your awareness to protect yourself. Then you can start worrying about the bigger things. But worry is one of the huge signs that are coming into being, is the sign that one of the signs that I've been talking about, which I will do a separate video and do a synopsis of the most significant signs, instead of putting it on a lecture that I'm usually in front of people and I kind of get distracted. So I'll try and put that out prior to the book coming out. So again, shift your awareness to see what, how, when, where you need to protect yourself as well as your finances or anything that you're worrying about, okay? I'm just looking over my notes quickly so I can give you, there was things of the stock market, which, and by the way, does anybody realize or find that their time is just moving incredibly fast? It's already May, coming into mid-May, and you know, a few weeks ago I felt as if it was only January 1st. So just be aware that time's just moving faster, and this is part of that new, how can I say this, this new energy that's coming in. So just try and clear up what you need to clear and then move on from there. And secure what you can secure. And that's talking about like security numbers, medical records, anything that's compromised, that you feel compromised, try and have control, but not over control. Really, I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. It's far longer than I thought I should have done, but hopefully that would help a few people. We'll talk the rest for cyclones and typhoons and hurricanes and everything else on the extreme weather. And again, snow, I did say, would be just coming in, being here in the US for another 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Excuse me. And for all the other typhoons and hurricanes, which I have been predicting, I'm not too sure, I think some of them did come right already. Please go to the 2015 predictions, the initial one. I have done additional videos as well. You're more than welcome to look at that. They're all on my channel. Thank you for taking time. If you've managed to stay to the end, take care and keep safe.